So you want your lightweight material, and so the sample that I've done to show you last week has got, so when I put it on, I didn't stretch it a lot to keep it flat so that you could see the technique. So this week I'm going to show you the elastic again, but I'm going to stretch it slightly. So with this, say like if you was making knickers, it obviously goes around a curve around your bum, and if you don't have any elastic or anything on like that, it just hangs down at the bottom. So you need that elastic to bring it in. I'm just gonna mute you a minute, Anna. So you need that elastic there to bring it in. So as you sew your elastic on, you stretch it to how it sits, and then it'll bring the fullness in, but still maintain the shape of what you're wearing.
So, I assume you pin it on.
Yeah, so let me just get to that bit then.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're all right.
Last week, you say last week, and I'm like, I think my head was like 10 minutes behind.
No, I'd picked out some samples to show you, but with some people had not got some elastic. So I'm going. So this is a lightweight material, and I get my elastic wherever the end is. So depending on how much you want it to stretch would depend on how much elastic that you had. So if you was to put, say maybe 3/4, so the measurement of your calico, and then maybe do 3/4 of that elastic, because make sure that it'll stretch from one end down to the other end, which this one does, so it goes all the way down. If you want it really, really so it gathers right up, you can stretch it more, but it's going to be sitting however you're going to display it, so you'll want it so it's still sat quite flat. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So the idea is that you put it on and then you fold it back. So there's 2 sets of stitch. So you put the raw edge, so the raw edge of the material, and the non-picot edge, so the straight edge, against that raw edge. So the pattern bit is going into your sample that way. So I'm just going to put a pin in at the top to start it off. Now you can use this one's a 3-step zigzag, or you can use a zigzag. So it's up to you which stitch you use. I liked the 3-step zigzag because it was a little bit wider. So I'm going to put that one on again. There we go. And so now what I'm going to do, I've pinned that first one in place, and because I'm going to stretch as I sew, I'm not putting any more pins in. If you want to pin it as you go down, you can do, but it might just curl up where you're holding it. So I'll just put another pin in just in case that's an option that you want to do and you can see. So I'm just putting another pin in the bottom. So I know it'll stretch, and then I stretch the elastic as I'm sewing so it's straight and flat. So anyway, I'm just going to do it and pop it in and show you. So normal foot, I've got my 3-step zigzag on, putting it right under, and so this side here, I want it to show. So all I'm going to do, my zigzag, you see that there's like not from where this dotted section in, so not where the picot edge starts, I'm just sewing on that solid area. So ignoring all of this, because when it's actually stitched, we fold it round and then we put a top stitch zigzag on there that goes all the way through. So the first step is to stitch down your edge with a zigzag, and then when we've done that, we fold it round and top stitch again. But obviously I'm going to show you that now. So I'm going to pop it in and I'm going to do my 3-step zigzag. I've just run that first one by hand so that I know that it's not going to go off the end. So all I'm going to do now is I'll just lift it up higher so you can see how I'm stretching it. So I've stretched my elastic so I know it fits all the way from the top to the bottom, and so I'm just going to hold it in the middle so that I'm not pulling too much, and then let it go through. Just do that a little bit smaller. So now I can get my hand to the back. I'm just gonna pull my 2 hands away from each other. So I'm not overstretching and I'm not pulling the material tight. I've got my hand at the back and I've got my hand, let me just line it back up again. So I'm just pulling it so it's the straightness, so following the straight grain of the material. So I'm not pulling it really tight. And then I'm just stopping and re-stretching it again. Ooh. So that's the first step. So this is what it looks like at the minute. It's all curled up, which is fine. So now we're going to turn it round so that the picot edge is right on. So that's the way I've just sewn it, that way. So now I'm going to fold it back on itself so I can see the fold of the calico and then the edging that's coming off. So let me just go further in. So this is the way I've just sewn it in my machine, this way. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold the elastic back on itself. So I'm taking that towards the back, and then I've got there's a fold there so that edge is neatened, and then you can see the elastic coming through. Yeah? So I'm going to pin that in place again. So if you want, you don't necessarily have to pin it in place. You can run it straight through, but you just want to make sure that it is flat and neat. So as I'm looking up here, there's a bit of a crease in that one. I think it's got caught. So I might just play about with that, make sure it's flat, and then feed it under. And that's just because it's got because we're stitching on elastic that's smaller, that it's gathered up like that. So I'm not going to pin it, I'm just going to run it straight through, because then I can stretch it out. So let me just line it up. So I've popped it under, put my needle in. And then I'm going to start to stretch it.
Is that a straight stitch now that you do?
No, it's a zigzag again. So the same zigzag that you chose before. So this is the side that you'll see. So this is like a top stitch. So all the time I'm just keeping the bit between my finger and the needle taut. So I'm pulling the elastic so it's taut. And so either a 3-step zigzag or a normal zigzag would work, because you've still got you've got your stretch in there because of your elastic. So even if you pulled it so it was straight, your stitch won't break. So you can use either one, either stitch, however it suits. So then you've got your finish there. So say if you wanted to do a cuff on a sleeve, if you'd used the same colour thread, my calico shirt that I'm wearing, you know, it's something different.